Put your hand over your eyes. I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today.
I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today.
Now we open over your ears. I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today.
I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today.
And now just over your heart and extend your arms. I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today. The spiritual truth that I'm working with today is that the same mind that is in Christ Jesus is in your mind as well. Same mind that is in the mind of Jesus is in your mind as well. You see, Jesus was the name that his mother gave him. Christ was the name his followers gave him. Your name, Sarah, Tyrone, James, Billy, whatever it is, was the name your mother gave you. Christ is the name that God gave you. Christ means anointed one. It means you are sacred. You are sacred. You have within you the same infinite wisdom that Christ had available to Christ.
Yeah.
You have the ability to heal the sick, to make wine out of water. You have the ability to differentiate between enabling and truly helping somebody. You have the ability within you, the divine wisdom, to know that project that you so believe in, that other people are saying, you've been trying too long, let it go, let it go, let it go. You have the infinite wisdom within you to keep moving, if that's what you're called to do. You have everything in you that Christ had in you. And you have the ability to resurrect yourself after whatever might be coming your way or has already come your way. And when I talk about resurrection, I'm not talking about reviving yourself. See, you and I, we revive ourselves all the time. We fall down and we get back up, but we don't fully resurrect. See, when we revive ourselves as opposed to resurrect ourselves, we get up, but we begin to walk with a limp. It's that emotional limp that we carry with us all the time. Our steps get a little smaller when we revive ourselves. When we resurrect ourselves, we are just moving toward our glory. We are moving with as much energy as we can possibly have. I want to give you an example right now of resurrection. And Christy's going to put on a video, and I want you to know that I have permission from this young woman who went through a crucifixion that you're going to see to go ahead and laugh, if that's what you're called to do. Don't think you're not spiritual if you don't laugh.
Hey guys, it's Tori. I'm basically just teaching you guys how to curl my hair with a wand. I have a wand. Clamping curling iron works too. Just don't use the clamp part because that's what makes your hair like fat at the end, like how it like sticks up. So I recommend not using that. Take a shower. Use this. It's a split remedy. It reduces up to 80% of split ends after 3 uses. But anyways, so basically, if you want like medium curls, then take a piece about this big, maybe like to right there, and bring out like the middle of your finger, and then like do it like this, and then like wrap it around. I think that this is what makes the curls look pretty, and then like wrap it up, and then count 20. Count 20 or longer, actually. Oh my god. Kidding me. My hair is perfect.
The reason I chose that video, I was talking to a friend about it, and she said, well, it doesn't feel like a very resurrection video to me. But you know, it is a resurrection video for two reasons. One, imagine you're a teenager, you know, and you think you're kind of hot stuff, such hot stuff that you want to share your hot stuff with a whole bunch of people. And so you get on there and millions of people see you crucify your little self up there. But here's what happened. That kid came back. That kid came back. She didn't let it stop her. She's on talk shows. She's on, you know, the morning shows. She's everywhere telling her story. She has turned it into something good. She fully resurrected from that experience. The other reason I wanted to show it is because you and I know that when we go through a terrible betrayal or a terrible divorce or we lose our house or something awful happens, a bad diagnosis, when we resurrect from that experience, we know we have to resurrect. But it's the little things. It's the little things where we look foolish somewhere. And we never really recover from looking foolish. We never fully resurrect ourselves from that experience. And that's what makes us small in life. It's those little tiny things. That wasn't earth-shattering. Burning your hair off will grow back. It's not earth-shattering. I'm sure it was if you're 14 or 15. It's very earth-shattering. But it's not an earth-shattering thing. But that's what keeps us down. We want to begin to know that we can revive ourselves from anything. Well, this is the day that Jesus resurrected, and so I want to talk about the Easter story. I'm going to go through it really quickly. I didn't realize how late it was, but you know, there's nourishment that Jesus was a master teacher. Master teacher. And not only did he teach in parable, not only did he teach in straight lecture, but most profoundly he taught by example. And so his example, he's got clues here during his crucifixion. They're often called the 7 last words of Jesus. They're not words at all. We put a word on it, but they're phrases, 7 last utterances while he was being crucified that for us will enable us to resurrect much more quickly from that which we are being crucified by. And you know, some of us have gone through, I've gone through terrible crucifixions, and I know you have too. And within this Easter story, there are some keys to unlocking how we can fully resurrect. So these 7 words, they were taken from all 4 of the Gospels, and I'm going to just really race through them right now. The first one is forgiveness. The first word is forgiveness. It's taken from that phrase, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Now, none of us love to be in the position of forgiving because it means that somebody trespassed against us. But here's one of the reasons we really resist this notion of forgiveness. It was talked about here in this phrase from Jesus. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. See, we don't like that. We don't like to think people didn't know what they did. In fact, even now when we look back, we think they knew what they were doing. Don't tell me they didn't know what they were doing. And because we feel that, we are not open and ready for forgiveness yet. But what if we changed it a little bit? What if we just added a couple of more words to it? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they did to me. To me. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing to me. See, the truth of it all is that anytime we are trespassed against, and anytime we trespass against anybody else, we are trying to simply seek some form of love. Clumsy love, ugly love, painful love, but we're trying to make ourselves feel better when we trespass against anybody else. It's very, very unlikely that it's about the person we trespass against. Well, what if we began to just really take that in? And of all of the trespasses that have been made against us, what if we began to look at it from that point of view? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do to me. They knew what they were doing, but they didn't know what it was going to do to me. The other part of the power of this statement is, Father, forgive them. See, Jesus isn't saying, I'm going to forgive them. He says, Father, forgive them. And when we talk about that in metaphysics, what we're saying is highest consciousness, the Christ within me, the highest self I have, forgive them. Because my human being self can't do it right now. I simply can't do it. But I turn it over. I'm willing. Many of us in recovery, we know that phrase, I'm willing to be willing. I'm not willing right now, but I'm willing to be willing. See? And that's very powerful, that little tiny thing. You know, we're gearing up, the committee is gearing up for Human Spirit, and I'm so excited about it. And one of the things that we are committed to making sure is that we're not going to ask anybody who comes to Human Spirit to do anything we haven't already done. And so we're working on this little pod of forgiveness work we're going to do together. It's going to be powerful. And John Donovan said, you know, this happened to me. I was writing, somebody said to me, write a letter to the person. It's a dead letter. You're not going to send it, but just write it to indicate to the universe your willingness. He said, I'm not willing to forgive. Just write the letter. Just write the letter. It indicates your willingness to forgive. And what he said was halfway through the letter, whoosh. He said, I don't need to write the letter anymore. I just forgave. Is it magic? No. It's the words, it's the teachings of Jesus. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I don't have to forgive them. The second word is now. Now. And it comes from that phrase, truly I say unto you, today will be the day you will be with me in paradise. Truly I say unto you, right now, you will be with me in paradise. We have to, you know, and what he's talking to two men. He's talking to two men who were convicted of actually doing something wrong. One on each side of him on the crosses. Metaphysically speaking, they represent our future and our past. And what he's saying is, today you can be resurrected. Today you can be in paradise. But if you're holding on to your past with that death grip that so many of us are holding on to, you cannot resurrect. You can revive yourself. But if you're holding on to the past, you cannot resurrect. Your future can become part of your now, but if you're living in your future, if when I get a boyfriend, when I get a girlfriend, when I lose 20 pounds, when I get a house, when I get a new job, if that's where you're living, you cannot resurrect. The resurrection time is this minute, this day, right now. The third one is one. It's taken from John 19, where Jesus says, woman, he's talking to his mother, woman, behold, this is your son. Because he knows he's going to die. Woman, behold, this disciple, my friend, is your son. And to his disciple, he says, disciple, this is your mother. What he's telling us is to take care of ourselves and to take care of one another. You know yourself, when you are in the worst time, if you can give service to somebody else, if you can help somebody else, it brings you up. It starts the resurrection process. It doesn't matter what their biological connection was. Care for one another. Doesn't matter what, if you are biologically connected or racially connected or ethnically connected or lifestyle connected. It doesn't matter. If you really want resurrection, begin to give service to one another. Care for one another. The fourth one is truth. You know, this is so powerful. It's probably the most powerful thing for me. It's when Jesus said, Father, oh gosh, it just went out of my head, and it's so important. All right, it's coming back. We're coming back to it. No, it's not that one. It's not forgive me. I fear. Father, why are you leaving me? What is that? What is that? Father, why are you forsaking me? Father, why do you forsake me? Why are you forsaking me? And what he's telling us here is in the midst of our crucifixions, in the midst of when we're falling down and when we're the least okay, it's all right to be afraid. It's all right to be afraid. We don't have to go around and act like we have our spiritual life all together and we're all so spiritual and we're just saying, oh, everything's good in God. We don't have to say that. When we're afraid, be afraid. Why hast thou forsaken me? We want to be as authentic as we can possibly be. We know, you and I know, that we can hold the truth in our head while we're crying, while our heart is breaking. And Jesus was teaching that. It's okay. You don't have to go around and act like you are a person of faith and represent all people of faith. When you're hurting, allow yourself to hurt. Let's go to the next one. The next one. Oh, because here's the thing. When we shove stuff down, we will become depressed. Unless you express it, we will become depressed. And that's what's happening to a lot of us. Instead of resurrecting ourselves, we're reviving ourselves, but we're depressed at the same time. The next one is I thirst. I thirst. And it's Jesus' way of saying in the midst of the worst, of the worst, of the worst, of the worst, you can find something. You can find something that you want to experience, that you want to see, that you want to do. Find that little one thing. It's so important to be able to find it in the midst of our worst time. The next one is finish. Finish. It's finished. It's finished. It's over. It's over. See, what happens with our resurrection is to be fully resurrected, you have to be done with the crucifixion. You have to be done with the crucifixion. You can't talk about it anymore. You can't email people anymore about it. You can't make a movie over it. You just have to be done with it, you know? Okay, I got dumped. I'm done. Okay, my house got repossessed. It's sad. I'm done. Okay, whatever. But I got fired. Done. Done. It's finished. And the reason that's so important that it's finished because you can't resurrect without it being finished. You will revive yourself, but you will continue to limp on in the world. Seventh and the last one is this. I surrender into your hands. Into your hands I command my spirit. Father, into your hands I'm done. I'm not going to try and control anything. Now, we know, religious scientists, if I were to take a poll, a silent poll, religious scientists hate the word surrender. We do not like it. We do not like it. Okay? So what we would say, instead of saying, into your hands I command my spirit, instead of surrendering, what we would say is we are harmonizing with spiritual principle. We are learning what spiritual principle is. We're learning that when you give love out, you get love back. We're learning that. And we're harmonizing our life with it every single day. Because when we harmonize with spiritual principle, you can't help but resurrect. You can't help it. The last part I want to talk about, because I love to say it every Easter. I love this part of the story, and because I love it, you know, I'm sorry you got to hear about it. And that's this. Jesus is resurrected. And he had told everybody he was going to be resurrected. He said, I'll see you. Don't worry. I'll be back. Don't worry. Give me a couple days. I'll be here. Don't worry. I'm coming. I'll be here. And so he meets his disciples on the way, several of his disciples on the way to Emmaus. And as he goes, he walks with them, and they don't recognize him. They can't recognize him. And they can't recognize him because they are so caught up in the conditions. See, Ernest Holmes says, we have to be able to expect to see what we can see. Well, they thought he was dead. They had seen the trial. They had seen the crucifixion. They had seen the stone. And they thought dead. They had stopped remembering the truth of what he told them. I'll be back. I'm going to rise again. And what they began to do is get so caught up in those conditions that they believed more in the conditions than they did in the truth. You and I do that all the time. We get so caught up in the conditions that we forget there is a powerful truth for us. And that truth is you get a do-over. You can rise again and again and again and again. Let's take this message into prayer. Knowing that we are in the heart and the mind and the love of the Most High God. I give thanks for Christ. I give thanks for Jesus. I give thanks for the Romans. I give thanks. I just simply give thanks. I give thanks to all beings everywhere celebrating this Easter Sunday morning. I give thanks to the people who are yet to find us to remember that they can rise up again from wherever they are. And I give thanks to our Compassionate Ministries team for making sure that they are well fed and cared for until the miracle happens. I give thanks. I release this word into the law, and together we say, and so it is.